Right, I won't. Okay, so I had been working on this really for many years, but because you have life going on and interruptions and different things, it takes a long time to get something put together. Really, I've actually started, my first little sketch in the notepad goes all the way back to July of '05, where I had this idea for a teacher certification program that would be a way of standardizing the process of how we train teachers to do rocketry. Many of you have already been involved in things like a build and blast workshop where you would have teachers come out and you would go through and you talk a little bit about rocketry, and then you would talk about how to build the rocket and how the rocket works, and you would build the rocket, and then you'd go out and launch it, and everybody has a good time and chases the parachutes down and has fun. So your teachers have been taught how to do rocketry, and then they would often come back to me and say, okay, well, we needed this, but we also are wondering, we can't just do rockets in schools. We have to teach a lesson with rocketry. We have to be talking about physics or energy or motion or Newton's laws or something. And so they would want a lesson to do with their rockets. So I'm putting all this together as the years go by, and I would do workshops. I would do some here in town. I would do different places where I would go and train teachers, and I would try to figure out, okay, this is great. I'm doing this stuff here in Alabama, and I know there are people doing it in the West Coast, and I know they're up in Michigan. There's places all over the country that are doing rocket training workshops for teachers. But there's no way to keep up with who the teachers are or to know that they all have the same amount of material to put this together. So I wanted to come up with the idea of standardizing the process so that all teachers could get a really good exposure to rocketry, learn how it is, be confident in using it, knowing the NAR safety code and all these things, and have a way of administering this through NAR and the local sections. So I got some ideas together. I talked to some people. I would poll people after I would do my workshops on what worked for you, what sounds good, how do you want to do this. And after all these years and getting feedback from teachers and other Rocketeers and other sections, I've got an idea of how this thing is and to put it together. So I was going to create a program that would train teachers to have the skills so that they would go back to their classroom and they would know how to do rocketry with their classroom and could represent their school in doing launches for their classes. Now I wanted to make this something on the order that was fairly credible, not just a real simple overview, but a really complete training on how model rocketry works and how to do it. Somewhat on the order of a little more complexity than just doing a target flight, but not as much as doing a level 2 certification, but something in there that would really be worthwhile and attractive to teachers and have some kind of credibility as a training program. We've been doing this for years and years, but we never really had it all standardized of a set process of doing it, like we do for our high power certification. That is very well standardized and very well known. So I wanted to do that for teachers, to get teachers and Rocketeers together. So is this just for teachers? Well, it helps to be directed toward a professional classroom educator. However, there are a lot of folks out there who do rocketry that are not professional teachers. There are the informal educators that are scout leaders, 4-H leaders, Civil Air Patrol squadrons, all these things. I wanted to be able to allow them to teach and become certified in this program, but I also wanted to let any NAR member who wanted to become trained in this profession, who would be maybe a TARC mentor or some other leader in their section, to have this credential when they teach. Now, the advantage that teachers has is they already know how to teach a lesson. We would need to, if you're not a teacher, you need to know how to put a lesson plan together so that you have an objective determined of what your point is, how you're presenting it, what standards are you including, and all these sort of things, and knowing a way that you achieve your objective when you finished. So that is another part of the program that the teacher will have to demonstrate in the certification process. But it's really not that hard, and we provide all the material that anyone can read to get this. The things that the teacher would need to know if they are a ranked beginner, of course, is what is the rocket technology, how do you launch a rocket, and what are the regulations that they need to know, what are the applications, and then what is NAR, who are the sections and who are the people who do all of the things that we do, such as TARC or SLI or any other kind of launch event. How do they do this? Well, the teacher, what took me so long was to try to get all the material sorted out that was useful for the teacher, that would be good for them to learn rocketry. To start with, what is a rocket made of? How does it fly? How does the propulsion system work? Put all that together, and that was done by Tom Seredit, who wrote quite a bit of material for STEM Handbook, which is used on the TARC website. So he put a lot of material together. I had some other things that I used, and I put that together as well, and had it all online. That was what my last year, I have been so busy, is building all this stuff on the new NAR website so that it's all outlined and the teacher or the viewer can go through and find it, read the material, watch the videos, learn how to build a rocket, all the things that are there. So there's that material there to mainly learn about how a rocket works and how a model rocket can fly. We also wanted them to learn about NAR and the rocketry community. And then also one of their criteria for completing the certification is to actually launch their own rocket and to have that observed by a NAR member. In the process, the teacher has to show that they can do a lesson with a rocket. They're not just shooting a rocket, they're actually using it for some point, and we will sort of grade their lesson plan. And another thing that I kept being suggested to have is to have a written test, much as like used for the level 2 certification, but certainly not that complex because you're not talking about high power rocketry. So the test I have created is very simple. It's over the NAR safety code. How far do you need to be away from a rocket? What do the different letters on the motor codes mean? What's your basic center of gravity, center of pressure relationship? Very, very fundamental things that any TARC student would know, but also a teacher would need to know really to be certified as a NAR teacher. So I got about 20 questions put together out of a pool of about 50. The test questions are online. You read them and you study them like you would your driver's test or your level 2 certification test, and then you will take the test on the field, and our person will give it to you, and if you pass, then you can do your launch. And that will verify that the teacher does know a lot of information and can prove it, even though it is very, very simple to what we as more advanced rocketeurs would already know. But for the beginner, it's a very thorough exam, and yet not that hard. So on the website, how this all runs is, first of all, the teacher goes to the website, finds the information, they're invited to join NAR, and they get registered. So they start learning the material, they study the test questions, they do well to make contact. We have a list of mentors established. We want them to find somebody locally in their area to hook up with to be their mentor, kind of like a TARC team would, except they're not going to have to learn a whole lot. It's not going to be a real rigorous study because the lessons are, the things about rocketry are so elementary, so fundamental. So they begin to develop their lesson plan. They pick out what kind of rocket they want to use for their lesson, whether they're going to do some kind of egg lofting experiment or an altimeter or simply time a flight. Compare the predicted duration perhaps with the actual duration. Whatever their lesson is, they put that together and they build the rocket and they develop the lesson. They send the lesson to NAR to get reviewed to make sure that they do have a lesson, and then we send them a flight form, kind of like a flight card that they will use to take to the launch to get their flight certified. They'll meet up with a NAR member who will administer the test. If they pass it, they'll be allowed to make their flight, and then they will sign off on the flight and be considered certified. And then the form will turn back into NAR, and we will send them a little certification. We will also add T-cert on their membership card, just like you have L1 or L2 on it. You will have your membership card will show that you are certified as a teacher with that. And we will list this on the website to show how many people are working in the program. This was a lot to work through, and I've got this in my notes as flow charts and all kind of things, and trying to make sure this process is something that a teacher can do and that also a NAR member can administer. You know, we're not trying to overload ourselves in doing this. It's supposed to be as simple as doing a TARC certification flight or an L2 cert. And hopefully it'll work out to be that easy and fun for everyone. So the teacher's going to have to build the rocket. They'll load it. It'll have a safety inspection, pretty much like all things done at a range. And they will have to connect with a NAR member to come out and do this. Now, that NAR member does not themselves have to be NAR certified, NAR teacher certified themselves, any more than the NAR observer who times a TARC flight has to be a TARC expert. Anyone can do it. Again, that's to simplify the process so that any school, any teacher, any section, any NAR member can perform this process. Flight, all it has to do is get it back and not crash it. The form is signed and the teacher is certified. But this is all designed to get a NAR member together with the teacher to help them, to let the teacher feel involved and connected to NAR, and the teacher will be involved with the test and verifying the flight and signing off on it. Sure, all you Monty Python fans know that before you crossed the bridge, you had to answer 3 questions, and there will be questions that the teachers have to answer to get certified. They're simple questions, though, like what is the time delay for your motor? Where is the center of gravity on your rocket? And what is the expected altitude of your flight? Very simple things that a beginner would need to know, but questions that we ask for proof that they understand the material. And then this will be the sheet that they get to fill out. It'll have a series of things that the observer will check off, and then finally, when everything is done, they can sign off on the bottom that the flight was good and that the teacher has proven themselves that they know enough to be certified in this program for building and operating a model rocket. And they will be given a certificate like this that, of course, will have their name printed on it, and we will send that to them. And they'll have that for framing and be able to put that in their professional development folder for things that they have done. Teachers have to do things every couple of years to maintain their tenure and their expertise in their profession, and they got to go for training. This is going to count as training because it's produced by NAR, and it is a standardized process that they can indicate that they have passed and know about rocketry and are good to teach it and to represent NAR and to wear NAR's name. So we'll have this thing for them. We hope that the teachers will continue to will start, very earnestly to use model rocketry in the classroom, perhaps form TARC teams or get more involved with the local section or become a section representative in their school, and mainly to propagate the program by becoming a trainer and an observer for some other teachers, so that they would teach other teachers, not just their own students, who would become certified in this program. This has, as I said, I've working on this for a while. I had to get it all built on the new NAR website, and we're going to declare it open and running at NARCon in just 2 weeks. So you are getting a sneak preview of all this material, and I'm going to present some of this material as well at NARCon to roll out this new program. In Ted Cochran's e-newsletter a few weeks ago, he sent out this link, and everyone in NAR was welcome to go to it and get familiar with what this process is, because there may be teachers coming to you and wanting you to help them do this, in which case, you will help them with the test and grade it, and then watch their flight and sign these forms, and hopefully have familiarity with what is going on so you can help them. The high power certification process had to start somewhere, and we know that the TARC scoring process started 13 years ago, and it went where it did, and it's working now. It's commonplace. Hopefully this process will be up and running soon, that a lot of teachers will want to get into, and that NAR members will be very easy, readily to support and help them. It should increase really the membership in NAR, give us one more thing that we can say that we're doing to help educators in this country, and hopefully it'll be another thing NAR is doing to help support our country and the education system. So that's the story. The cat's going to be out of the bag in 2 weeks, and then I will be trying to be braced for whatever influx of applicants that we get. I don't think Huntsville's going to have a big surge, but I don't know where everybody will come from or how many they will be. But the more who get started, then they can go forward and be the other certifiers for this program, and that hopefully it will propagate itself in the same way that the level 2 certification processes go, is that as people get familiar with it, they'll continue to do it themselves, and it'll take care of itself and move along. There's one other thing I want to show you that's related to the Museum of Flight, where we're having NARCon in 2 weeks. The reason it's going to be in Seattle is that we are unveiling a model rocketry exhibit at the museum that has taken a couple of years of work between NAR and the Museum of Flight to put together, having a lot of artifacts from the Stein collection and from Vern Estes' living room, and a number of different things, putting this exhibit together. So that's going to be launched and rolled out for NARCon. That's a big deal. The NAR Teacher Cert program will be revealed, and to try to collect all of the attention that the exhibit is getting, we have created a new NAR kind of landing page on the website that all of the visitors who go to this exhibit will be directed to NAR/MOF. And if you could key that in, I will show you what that looks like. And it's another sneak peek